they do.
March was cozy books.
March was cozy because it was cold as shit outside here.
It's
still windy.
Gray here.
Look at us. We're like the weather. In like a lion, out like a lamb. It's the end of March. We've passed the
But I will
Ides.
tell you, it was like perfect reading month. I devoured books this month. Like it was just gray and chilly and cozy and just easy to read in March.
And I read some books with some girth to them, like some thickness.
Right? Yeah.
I read some that were small, but I read others that had like they needed
thick with two C's.
Time. Thick with two C's. She thick. She was thick. So, I think we have a few things to get through this month, some of which we will talk about in more detail at a later point, but we will get there. But what did you read? What did we read? First, we read the first book.
I mean, holy crap. We read 4 of the same books. If that doesn't tell you how much we read this month, hold on to your panties, girls, because we are talking about it. The first book that kicked off March was actually The Empress, and it was fantastic, and we enjoyed it, and we read through it in a day. A weekend. Like it was a quick one. We fell into that one.
And we did an entire episode on it. So
I was going to say, we're not going to talk too much of it now. Go check out the other, wherever it is, down here.
Somewhere around here. Also, if you're not subscribed and like haven't seen that one, subscribe so you get all of these, because we will be talking about more of these things.
Subscribe in 25, because there are several we're going to say, we read this, but we've already talked about it. Go check out the other video. Exactly. The Empress being the first one. Happy March with a fabulous read.
Indeed. It was so good. And I know we talked about it at length, but it was one of those that I still think about, which I love. It's a good solid 4-star. I think I gave it a little bit above 4 stars because I do partial stars. And I just think that it was one of those, it was a good start off March book, because at that point it was super like yucky outside, and I was happy to go into and literally fall into a completely different world full of magic and all sorts of fun things.
Pun totally intended.
100%.
Yeah, tripped and fell into that portal. Portal to another world. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay, so along that, let's also kick them out for the other ones we read. We read Fourth Wing.
Yes.
Iron Flame.
You read yours online, yes?
I did, yes.
So we had Fourth Wing. We had the Iron
Flame and Onyx Storm.
Yes. Which is our episode for next week. So, again, not going to get into that because that will be full of spoilers. 100% full of spoilers. Next week's episode. And we're not going to tell you what happened if in case you haven't read it. We don't want to ruin it for you. But we did jump on.
Not here. But we ruined the shit out of it in the next episode.
Next week, completely ruined. But this week, not ruined. But we did jump on the bandwagon, right? We jumped on the bandwagon and said, you know what? We're going to read this. We know it's a little bit newer. And we don't typically read all sorts of new books. Which is funny because most of the other books I'm reading are new, but not like popular books. We don't read a lot of popular books.
But not like super hyped TikTok books.
Right.
But we did.
I will.
We jumped
I don't even think that I'm super in on book talk. I think I'm in on like threads talk, right?
Yes.
I'm in on like thread. Do you know that when you talk to people on threads, if you're connected, you're thriends instead of friends?
I'm sorry. No.
They call them friends. THRIENDS. Friends. Yeah, because somebody was like, "Hey, friends," and I was like, "Whoa, what?" So clearly, I don't know if I'm just too old or if I just don't get it.
We're getting there. We're learning.
So many friends. So many friends that I actually am really enjoying the threads scene because mine is completely book threads. Threads everywhere.
2 things for you. Subscribe in 25. Hello. That's what we're doing. And come be our book friend.
Our book friend, right? But that's where I found so many of, actually a couple of the reads that we'll talk about in a minute, I found on threads.
Hello, that's also where we found all the people to fill our retreat.
Yes.
We have 1 spot remaining.
We do. Just one. Solo uno.
So if you are interested, let us know.
Mid-May,
it could
we're going
be yours.
to the lake, right? We're going to the lake. We're doing massages and tarot readings and reading and community and all that kind of stuff with a very small group, and excited to make
It's
new
like,
book friends in real life.
what is it? It's like elevated book club. What do you call that? We'll work on it. It's a submersive weekend.
It is I'm actually super excited. Like very much looking forward to it. Was looking at my spring schedule because we have sports and stuff like that. Was looking at my spring schedule and was like, but in the middle there's a chunk in the middle that's just for you and me. Like
That's
it's book time.
perfect.
It's book time. So I love that.
So
So we
join
did
us.
go through and do the entire, as it stands now, Fourth Wing series,
Yes.
and we have more to
Three
say on
book,
that in
three book Fourth
detail.
Wing series,
Next
and
week.
spoilers and all the good details.
And our
Yeah,
opinions.
So check out that one when it pops up next week. Make sure you're subscribed so you see it.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then we can get into the other things that we actually read apart from those, which are different from one another. We did read different things this
did also read different things.
We did, which I love.
Yeah, so I don't have it with me here, but along the line of all of our cozy reads and like really looking for something light and fun, I picked up Funny Story by Emily Henry
Oh,
because I loved The People We Meet on Vacation. Mm-hmm. And that is the exact feeling that I was looking for when I picked up Funny Story.
You knew it was a love story, right?
I did. I was hoping for the exact, like I was hoping for the exact same. I gave this one 2 stars. Did not.
I liked Funny Story.
I did not enjoy this. There were so many other people and so many other relationship dynamics that we had to explore.
Hold on. Give me a brief overview so I know exactly which one we're talking about, because I've read all of hers and they kind of come together. So which one is Funny Story that I'm now not remembering?
So this is the one that the girl was engaged to the guy.
Oh, I did like this one. Okay, keep going.
And then the guy was engaged to the girl, and
Yes.
the girl and the guy got together, and then
Yes.
these two became roommates. And
Yes.
then
Okay,
as a
I remember
joke,
that.
yeah, as a joke, they were like, let's say we're dating and go to the wedding together. But then, like, we had to explore this relationship, and then we had to explore this one, and this one, and this one, and like this. And then her dad came back from like years ago.
Yeah, that was
and
a
then
side
like
story. We didn't need a side quest.
yeah, and
Unnecessary
then
side
like
quest.
what she wanted to do with her life, and like it was just no, it just wasn't. It just wasn't there for me. Okay.
I think I might probably give that one 3.25 maybe. That one sounds like a 3.25.
Okay. So I mean, not
right?
like
It wasn't a
raging
5-star.
love.
No, but
yeah.
still, again, it's Emily Henry. She's easy to read.
And
right?
that's
And
what I
know
was
I'm
really
getting.
going for, but I was just like, no, I'm not feeling it. You're getting 2 stars. So sad panda, but that's
fair. I also like that we had very different experiences with it. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
I can't remember which one I read first because I think I read them all. Like I went through an Emily Henry phase and just like consumed all of them.
Yeah.
So I think
exactly.
I was just caught in that bubble and I enjoyed it a lot because I knew what I was getting. And I also I don't look very deeply at those at all, right? Because I'm just like, this is a fun, this is an easy,
That's what I was
something
wanting.
I can enjoy, right? So you picked well.
Yes.
It just wasn't.
That's what I was hoping, because People You Meet on Vacation is like caught me off guard and did not realize it was a love story. But when I tripped and accidentally fell into that one, I loved it. It was great. And that's really what I was looking for. And I was like, oh, it's got to be the same, right? I just didn't feel it. I just didn't feel that it was the same.
Which is fair.
So, 2 star for me.
Look at her. I went in a different direction and did not go cozy for a surprise, right?
Okay.
I always end up hitting into something a little bit harder. And I went with The Girl from St. Petersburg, which is a smaller book. And this was actually one that I found. I went to a craft fair, like a local craft fair. And this author, Joanna Peters, is actually local, right? She's from the next county over. And she came and she brought her books. This is the first of, she's got 2 books out now. And then I think she's working on a 3rd one that's supposed to release soon. And so this one's actually set in the early 1900s in Russia. And it's about a girl named, this is Ruth, and Ruth and her family are they're Jewish and they're trying to get out of Russia, right? She basically like comes home one day and realizes that her brother and the man she's betrothed to, and because she just turned 18, so she's young, and her father have basically absconded off to America, right? Off to the US to save themselves because they were apparently being followed. She has no knowledge of any of this. So she and her sister and her mom are left behind in Russia. And so they can't write to the dad. They eventually write to the dad and things like that, but they can't write and tell them things that are happening because they don't want to upset them. Right. And so they're working hard to figure out, like, they keep sending money back over and it's not enough. Their like food rations are not great. Like, it's all the things, right? It's very, it was good to read. It was I really loved it. Like, it was, I felt for Ruth and some of the things that she goes through and the things that she does. You're like, yeah, man, like way to go you, but also like that has to be terrifying, right? Because they are a very traditional family where the women are to stay home and to home make and to, keep the Sabbath and to do all of these things, like whatever it is that they're supposed to be doing. They are not to go and get a job or to have to provide for the family. And so Ruth has to do all of these things. She's basically taking on the male role while her dad and her brother and her, betrothed are away while they try to find their way across the globe to eventually get there. So it's a story, and like I said, it's not super long, so it was a quick read, but it was a like heartstring tug, right? And again, I love a good historical fiction, so I love that, and I actually am currently working on the next one. So there's the second book is actually about Ruth, where she is next. So what happens to her after this book, which is nice.
Question
So I'm
on historical fiction.
Yes.
How much has to be true? Or is it just a fiction set in historic times? Or
Like
because I know some of them are like wrapped around events, like actual events. So is there some level of truth to it? Or is it just like, is there like a degree? Is there a percentage that it has to, or is it just like, could I write about zombies in some of the
probably
prior
not.
wars?
I think it
I'm
has to
like,
be like, I think typically the characters are not actual. Like, I think this one, and I'll have to go back and look at the photo I took, but I think she had like a poster at her table and it was like, this is who the characters were based on. Right? So they were real people. Like, there are real people, the facets of real people in these books, but they may be woven into a fictional character.
Gotcha.
And so they're not telling that person's story. They're telling a story influenced by that person's life or the things that they did or the stories they told. And so it's the events and the place are real. And a lot of the facets of somebody's experience are real, but it may be several experiences melded into one to make the story. I think the same thing happened when I read Madeline Martin's books. All of the ones that have to do with the bookshops and whatever, during World War II, it's very much that. Where, like, yes, these things happen to different people, but we just put them all into one story. So it looked like it all happened to one. So I think that's where it comes from. And I could be completely wrong. And if I am, someone tell me otherwise. Like, if Google AI has a different answer, like, happy to hear it. But that's how I define it.
That's okay. Good to know.
But that was my non-fantasy story, right? Because we read The Empress, we read the Fourth Wing series, very fantasy. And then I jumped directly into this where I was like, oh, there's nothing fantasy-like about this at all.
No.
In fact, a lot of it is terrible as far as the events that happened.
In the best way possible.
Right?
Right.
So, but I really enjoyed her as an author, her writing style. And I love that I got to actually meet her in person. So that was super fun. And I'm excited to finish the next story that she's got. And see what comes out next for her. So,
yeah. Okay. Still working on the second one. Okay.
Yep, still working on the second one. We'll see that in our April review, I'm sure, because I think I'll be done with it by then. It's not long.
That's where we're at. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably finish it like tomorrow.
Okay. Well, that'll be April, so it doesn't count.
Exactly. We don't count it in this one.
It can't be counted here.
Right.
So speaking of second book.
Okay.
My next book is called Accidentally Dead.
Oh, okay. That's a cute little thing, though. I love that she's got like one eye open.
So cute, right?
Yes.
So I picked this up because It sounded so fun. And it is basically this girl, it's her first day on the job as a dental hygienist. And she gets bit.
Oh,
And the
God.
next day, she wakes up and she's a vampire.
Oh, no.
So she goes and finds the guy who bit her to be like,
and says, like, what the hell, dude?
I need you to explain this. Turns out this is book 2. This is a series. So in the first one, her friend gets accidentally bitten by a werewolf and turns into a werewolf.
Oh.
And so
Seems
now...
to happen a lot to them.
So, yeah. So, and then... But, so, okay, I found out it was book 2. But not like a continuation. It was like that was that girl's story, and like these are the same group of friends. So we just go into this now knowing that, hey, at least she has an... what do you call it? Not abnormal, but...
Paranormal?
Paranormal. Yes. It's the other normal. So she has a paranormal friend. The book, I gave 2 stars. It should have been so cute.
It's a 2-star month for you.
Remember this theme as we move forward.
Oh, God,
no. It should have been super cute. Like, the whole story could have been super cute, but it was basically dialogue the entire time. She was arguing with her friends, refused to, like, they had to convince her to contact this guy because she was like, no, I'll figure this out on my own, like, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, he has the answers. And I'm like, why would you not ask this guy what's going on? And so then he's like trying to help her. And she's like, I don't need your help. I can do it myself. And she's like pushing her friends away because they don't understand. And I'm like, your friend literally in book 1 became a werewolf, like accidentally. How would she not understand? So I just didn't like that back and forth where it was like,
trying to convince
screw
her
you,
to get
I don't need your help. Yeah. I'm like, this could have been such a cute story.
It was a little bratty.
Yeah, I'm not mad I didn't read book 1.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it matters. I'm kind of mad I read book 2.
Kind of annoyed that I wasted a read.
I'm kind of annoyed, but also like it was easy. Like I said, it was mostly dialogue. Right. So, a quick read, nothing that I slaved over at all. Could have been a very good story. Just wasn't great for me. So
that's fair.
There's that one.
That's very fair.
It's on the list.
I went from hard, like from the girl from St. Petersburg. I went from that to something absolutely delightful.
Yes.
And I don't have a physical copy because I read it as an ARC read, right? So an advanced reader copy, got an ARC read from an author named Lenora Cade. And it's a story called 2 Worlds Apart, and it is wonderful. We'll talk about it in our ARC episode that's coming up in a few weeks, but it was delightful and sweet and everything I wanted it to be, and I would read it again, right? It's one of those that like I have recommended it several times already, where I've been like, oh, like I reviewed it, I did all the things that you do with an ARC book, but also like genuinely say, like, please go read. Like I said, 2 Worlds Apart. It's about a girl who has finished college and she is getting ready to start nursing. But before she starts nursing, she kind of wants to do like a little eat, pray, love sort of thing, right? Except it's more just about the travel. So she has created this trip that she's going to take by herself with her and her backpack that's named Bertha. And she is going over to Europe and she's going to gallivant around and explore a little bit of the world because she's lived in a small town her whole life. And so it's her journey of that and some of the people she meets and some of the experiences that she has, and it's lovely. And that's all I will say about it here. But it is, like I said, really like that one. And the cover is gorgeous. Oh, and
it is beautiful.
Right? And as of the day that we are recording this, today is its release day.
Ooh, so it'll be available when we talk about it.
Literally available on Kindle, wherever. Today was like, I think I even shared it on my Instagram because I was like, it's release day, like go get this book. So I love that.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, one I definitely recommend.
Okay, yeah. I saw that one and I was like, do do I read the same or do I read different so that we can add to the arc episode? I don't know.
Either way, your choice, because you're not going to regret it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can say that because it was sweet.
I love that.
So.
Yay.
Yes. What else you got? Anything on your list?
Yeah, so I read another one online.
Okay.
So if I have something in my TBR, when I'm looking for something to read next, sometimes like a little extra oomph is always good. And this was for one of the little badges in Goodreads.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I was like, oh, that's on my TBR. And I'm going to get credit for one of the reading challenges.
I get extra? Yes.
I'll do that. Thank you. So I read the Bookshop Sisterhood. And we had just been talking about bookshop books.
Yes.
And like books about books.
Yes.
And so I was
which
like,
I love.
oh, like this would be super fun. This is about 4 girlfriends who decide to open a bookstore. We deal with a lot of their familial issues.
Okay.
And their outside relationships and then how they come together. And honestly, I gave this one 3 stars.
Okay.
If you have ever seen a Tyler Perry movie, that is this book.
Interesting. I don't know that I've ever heard a book described that way.
Have you seen Tyler Perry movies?
Yes.
Where they have like several couples. So there's
Yes.
4 couples basically, and then the women in those relationships are like best friends, and they all come from different walks of life. I would say different circumstances, different life circumstances. One is super broke and like struggling to stay afloat. She's taking care of her parents. She's the primary caregiver. She ends up winning the lottery and like mistrusting an accountant.
Yeah.
And then, but she's trying to keep up with her friend that's like 2 of them are really rich and like walk around in designer stuff.
Right.
And then one is a white woman who has been adopted by the group. But it's like, it's their cohesive relationship while they navigate their other ones and work to create a bookshop together.
It seems like there's a lot going on in that book.
There was a lot of drama, but it's very, it's like very dramatic.
But you had like funny story.
I was looking for cozy.
Right.
And I got drama.
You got drama instead.
I got drama.
You matched the weather, which has been a little dramatic lately.
It's been a little dramatic. So
appreciate that.
So yeah, so I read that book. I don't regret it. It was a good story. It just wasn't mind-blowing like I was kind of wanting it to be. So
that's fair.
So we went with that. 3 stars.
Perfect. So I think I had a little bit of up and down, right? Because I went from like fantasy to something a little difficult to something absolutely sweet to something with a little bit more difficult of a theme, but a wonderful book again. It's another ARC book, which again, we'll talk about in more detail later. But it was called Lowercase, and I had to pull it up to make sure I said the author's name correctly. It was by Haley Hallowell, and the book is called Lowercase, and it's actually based upon a little bit of an experience that she had, but it is a girl who's just finished high school. She and her best friend are getting ready to go off to college. They're going to go to college together. They have their whole plan set out or whatever. And then there's a car accident on the way home from dinner, and the friend passes, and the mother is in a coma. And this girl has to relearn how to walk and how to do things. And now she's like, there's not a dad in the picture. There's not, there's not other family members to help take care of her. So she's kind of on her own, and it's the way that she traverses this time period. So it's not easy. It's not lighthearted. It's not cozy, but it definitely examines some themes that I don't think that we really talk about when bad things happen, right? Like we get the idea of like a survivor's guilt, right? We're like, oh, why did this happen to them and not me or whatever? But we don't talk about the anxiety that goes with it. We don't talk about the frustration or the anger or some of the other things that don't really put themselves at the forefront of the conversation. And so this book definitely explores all of that. I absolutely loved it, even though it was hard. I cried, like cried, and still can't stop thinking about it. I did give it 5 stars. I did give it 5 stars because it definitely had me thinking about like the expectation we have for ourselves and for other people when they go through hard things. And so I have more detail to share about that one, but it is lovely, and I will read other things by this author. And so I was super
Ooh.
excited to be able to read that one. And again, have, as just like I recommended Two Worlds Apart, I also have recommended Lowercase. So, and I just,
Very
it's
cool.
really well written. And like the reason it's called Lowercase, I will not spoil, but I love the reason that the book is called Lowercase, which is something you figure out when you read it.
I was
So
going to
there
say
were,
it has to have some meaning.
it has a significance, which is very
Okay.
sweet. And so, like I said, I cried. Not super, when I say not an easy read, I mean it's an emotional read, but it's an easy
Yeah.
like book to get through. Like it's
Yeah.
readable, it's, you know, enjoyable as that way, but the themes are a little bit more difficult. But
Wrecked
if you're
you
looking to
in the
feel
best
something,
possible way.
right? Like I have a series of movies that I watch when I want to feel feelings, right? They are typically Finding Neverland, The Holiday, and Ever After. Those are the 3 movies I watch when I want to feel feelings. I know it's going to be a good quality
You
cry,
know.
right?
Yes.
This is a book I would use to replace one of those. If I needed to feel feelings and have a good quality cry, I'm reading Lowercase again.
Okay.
So
And this one's not a thick book.
no, it was about between like 270 and 350 pages, so somewhere in
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it all works out. But that's again, that's the other one that I picked up and finished and loved.
I
One of
love
like
that.
I'm actually considering getting both of those as shelf trophies.
Books. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I
Art
can give them,
copies
I can
come
share
in
them that way.
digital. That's true. Then you have
Exactly.
it
Right?
to put in your library to loan out.
Right? And just adding to my book number. Just
There
always
you
getting
go.
farther up on that. So
Yes.
works for me. Did you read anything else? Any other
I read
books?
one more.
Okay, me too. Perfect.
Oh,
I really wish
perfect.
we planned this in advance where we were like, hey, how many did you read? We don't ask that question when we get started.
We didn't, but
Just
it
talk.
somehow just always works out.
It
So
really does. So I like that.
it's all good. This is another 3-star read. It's
Okay.
called If You're Out There. And this one is about a girl and her best friend moves away abruptly. And like best friend cuts complete ties with her.
Oh.
Makes no like just I'm leaving you, don't contact me. I don't want to talk to you. Like white fangs
gosh.
her basically like
Ooh.
go away. And she's
Oh, I hate
like,
that.
something doesn't feel right. And then she finds out that the girl also broke up with the most amazing boyfriend in a email. And is like, and the best friend is like, yeah, that's not her style. Like, I think some stuff is happening.
This sounds like a lot of murder videos I've watched.
She is not right. I'm like, I know what we're thinking at this point.
Right?
And she's like, this doesn't add up. Something is not, like, this is not who she is. And people in her life are just like, oh, you're in mourning because, like, you had this huge fallout and now she's gone. Like, you need to move on. And she's like, I think she's actually missing. But like I think she's supposed to have moved to California and she's posting on Instagram, but it's not really like adding up. This girl's like, that's not
It's not
who I
California.
think it is.
That looks like
Yeah.
Idaho.
Right? And so she's like, I don't know. And then there's one picture that kind of sets this all off. It's a selfie with earrings that the best friend bought for the girl for her birthday, but said girl actually left them at best friend's house. So she
shouldn't have
knows
them.
that that's not a recent picture
Yeah.
because she is not currently in possession of those earrings. So yeah, she's like, no, these are here. I bought them.
They're
I
in
made
my
them.
hand.
Like they're like one of a kind. So I know you didn't get another pair. And so turns out, huge spoiler. Sorry, you're probably just not going to read this one because it's not
Fair. Tell me.
super
Because
one.
now I need to know.
So it turns out she's like a few states over. Her dad made some bets owes money, trusted wrong people, whatever. Now they're coming to find him. She is held captive in in his mom's basement because she's adopted. Like, it's this whole
there's a lot happening.
wildly dramatic thing. I really was going for cute and cozy, and we just took a hard left into Dramaticville this month. So I should have known with the weather. We're not looking at cozy, we're looking at dramatic.
Okay.
I get it now.
We need a little more whimsy in our covers, I think. We need to judge books by covers soon. A little more whimsy may get you something cozy.
Right? I need a little more. A little more. So yeah, so it was a wild ride. Definitely entertaining. Not earth-shattering. Like I said, 3-star, decent book.
Right. I'm telling you, I've watched a lot of documentaries that start like
that. That's exactly. I was
like,
oh, this could be interesting, but less of a real. Like, it didn't. It was just kind of so out there that it didn't feel real. You know, like, we're not connecting reality.
Yeah. Like, you've missed a couple of things. We haven't checked anybody's IP address yet, which we always do first. Like,
yes.
Everybody has some sort of like an IT friend.
I will also tell you there are journal entries written in italics. You have to read those.
Okay.
I learned my lesson from previous books, so I knew that like these were extensive enough that something was probably being told in them, so I did read them. Okay. And I'm glad I did.
I need to go back into the recesses of my mind somewhere. A long time ago, I read a book, but the entire book was written in text messages. So it looked like the little blurbs, but the whole book was like written that way, and I loved it. But I need to figure out what that was. Right?
That's
like
wild.
I need to go back because I've always liked, like, I loved that style. But it was different. Like, it'd be text messages between like her and this guy, or her and her work buddy, or her, but the whole story was told in just text messages. So I can do a book like that. They weren't italicized though. So
not italicized.
Not italicized. The whole book was written that way on purpose. That or emails. I think it was text messages and emails. That's cool. Like, I can read those.
Yeah, we don't have to people at all.
I need to go back and figure out what that was, which is not the book that I read last.
Tell us, what is your last book?
The book that I read last was actually just finished last night, and it was the next one in the series with the kids.
Yes,
So we read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and we just finished it last night. We do about 2 chapters, a chapter or 2 chapters a night. So it takes us, a couple weeks to get through, which is kind of nice. The chapters are, and again, we talked about this before, the reading out loud makes it a little bit longer, especially because some of the words are like, they're made up words. So you have a lot going on.
And the voices.
Magic, right? There was magic in this one most of us have either read or watched it, but the kids actually they enjoyed the first one, The Magician's Nephew, but they really liked the way this one ended, is what I was told last night. And I was like, I really like the way this one ended. She was like, I like this ending better than the other one. And you can tell that they're into it because, like, right at the end, like that last chapter, they're very good at not interrupting while we're like actually reading. They know the routine. They sit, they get cozy, they listen. And then at the very end, they could not hold it in. And they're like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, what about this? Like, so they're asking questions, right? And I was like, I swear we've got 2 pages left. Like, I'll read you the 2 pages and then we can have all the questions. So we read the whole thing. And then we got to the end of the book and then they were like, oh, and so now they're pulling back from the last story. And they're like, do you think that the professor that owns the house is actually Diggory from the first book? And they were like, what if he's married to Polly and she's Mrs. McCready? Like, and so they're starting to put things together where they're like, I think they mentioned the wardrobe in the first book. And so, like, is that why we got into the second one? So it was very interesting. I will tell you, it's been so long since I read this one because I read it as a kid, right? It's been so long since I've read this one that I forgot how quickly it comes to a close.
Oh,
because right? So you have this whole story and then you get to the very end and it's like boom, boom, boom. And then all of a sudden they're adults, right?
Yes.
And you're like, what the hell? And so the reading of that second to last chapter was hard from a reader's perspective. Like, trying to read it out loud. There were parts where I was like, we're just going to like, I'm not going to say this thing, or they're using like a different accent in the book all of a sudden. So they're writing it as if they're in that accent. And like, so it's not that it was unenjoyable, but I will say from a perspective of having read it over a few days and reading it out loud, that second to last chapter really threw a wrench in it. And I was like, I don't know if I like this part. And then it pulled it back together with the last chapter. But it was definitely, and I don't know that the kids noticed per se, but it was definitely a turn. So, but even, like I said, all three of them still enjoyed it. And they're like, we have another one. I'm like, I think there's like 6 books, guys. Like, we have 4 more to go.
Yeah. So do you think now you're going to start the 3rd book, or do you think you're going to show them the movie first? Because I'm trying to remember, but I think
the 3rd book is a movie as well. I think, I don't know if Prince Caspian is the 3rd book or the 4th book, but Prince Caspian is a movie. So I think we'll probably do the movie one night, probably this weekend, right? We'll do the movie, and then we'll get in the next time we start reading again. Just to kind of because we usually read
let
on
them
weeknights,
visualize,
right? So like weekends we're not, like Friday nights we're not usually doing too much reading, Saturday nights whatever, but Sunday through Thursday it kind of sets us up to get ready for bed, and so they tend to sleep better. And so we do the 30 minutes of reading, which does suck sometimes because we can get about a chapter done in 12 minutes,
half.
right? So we can do about 2 chapters. But if we get started late and I only read 1 chapter, they are pissed. And they're like, I thought we were doing 2. And I'm like, you guys like lollygagged. Yep. Sorry. Like, maybe we'll read 2 tomorrow. Like, get down here sooner. Like, you know the drill. Yep. And so to the point that they're like, well, we had like practice last night. And I think Ryder was sitting there and he was like, we have practice and then we have a couple minutes to hang out and then we have to get our pajamas on and then read and then go to bed. I'm like, there you go. Like, you know the plan.
Yep.
Fall in line.
You've got it.
So, but I did.
Sometimes
I liked that
like
was
that.
Yeah, and I liked that was the last read of this month. It was a nice one to kind of finish on because it's a classic, right? And it's something that I could do with them. So it was nice to not have had to push so hard to finish something. You know, sometimes I feel like this month's reads were they were work, right? And not because I didn't like them, but because they all had something, especially like reading an entire series in a week. That was a little bit of a slog because there was so much going on, and we'll talk about that next week. But I still think it felt like work. So it was nice to finish on something that just kind of felt cumulative.
Easy and light. Yeah, there's a completion, an air of completion.
Right. Do you have a theme for your next month?
No, I refuse.
I think my theme is actually, I have a lot of ARC books that I'm tracking right now.
Yeah.
And so I think my theme is a lot of ARC books, which they won't all make it. I won't be done with all of them by the time we get to our ARC episode, but that just means we'll have to do more than one ARC episode. Maybe this month, next month. We will be
doing more. Yes, because there are always more ARCs to read. And I will have a couple of ARCs that I'm reading as well. So
and I love them.
Maybe I'm going to... I feel like a lot of this was, I think I started to kind of tip into the thriller with my last one. So maybe I'll continue that theme. Thriller, murder. Like,
there you go.
Let's just expect dark.
Okay.
And see what
dark
happens.
April.
It's a dark April.
Yeah, I think I'm doing that. And I also have not started Throne of Glass. I've almost collected the entire series. I'm trying to collect it not from big bookstores. And so I haven't started that one, but I'm calling it shelf glue. I think that's what I called it when I was talking to somebody on Threads. I was like, because she was like, I haven't started Fourth Wing. And I was like, oh, my shelf glue, the thing that's stuck on my shelf glue is Throne of Glass right now. So I haven't started that one.
Also, that brings up, where are you at with the Sookie Stackhouse?
I'm only 2 in.
Series. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still mad at Sookie, so.
Okay. I
only because I need her to I need that main character to develop a little faster than she is, and so I'm having a temper tantrum over it. I'll get to more of them, but
she's a sweet Southern soul. You ain't gonna teach her nothing.
I know, and I think that's part of the issue. I'm like, there are sometimes when you're so into it, you're so with it, and then there are other times where I'm like, what common sense? Where is it? So that's where I am with that one. But I keep thinking about it. I'm like, I could just grab one of those. I have a lot of travel coming up next month, and so I will have plenty of time to read. Yes. So who knows how many books I'll actually get to next month, but I know that I have several flights. So
yes.
2 of which are
And a
going to be
book
very long
retreat.
and give me plenty of time to read.
So yeah, I was going to say like this has been a very book heavy first quarter.
Oh,
And I feel like
100%.
it's probably going to slow down, but honestly, as we're talking, I feel like there's still going to be a lot of opportunity
Yeah,
for
because I'm going to get to
reading.
summer, and that's all
So,
summer reads. Like, I am looking
right?
forward to some summer reads.
Yeah, and
So.
we'll be there so quick.
So tell us, what did you guys read this month? What are you looking forward to next month? Did you read any of the same things we did? And what are your thoughts? Would love to hear what you've got on your finished list, and if we should start adding them to some of our TBRs.
I think so. Let us know, because clearly I need a little help picking my books because I'm not doing a great job. So
Only for this month. It's okay.
help a girl out.
We'll take recommendations. And of course, you can find us very active on Instagram and Threads. So would love to be friends with you over there.
Come be friends.
Come be friends.
Join
now
us
that we've
on
learned that word.
Threads.
Friends on Threads. I don't know if I can say that. That was like, I had to.
Friends
actually
on threads, man.
Right? Thick friends.
Yes.
Yes, there we go. But we look forward to seeing you next week. Like I said, we're talking Fourth Wing. So if you've read it, join us because spoilers abound.
Yes. Brace yourself.
And until then, right? Pun intended. Brace yourself. But until then, happy reading, and we'll see you very soon.
Bye.
Hasta luego.
Do I have it?
Do you have it as a back? Hey!
Thanks for sticking around for the fireworks, y'all. Okay. Bye.
It was great to have you join us for today's chat. If you'd like to continue the conversation, provide a recommendation, or simply say hi, pop over to Instagram at wine.read.wine. Also, if you're the review type person, we'd love for you to subscribe and leave us an honest review on your favorite podcast player. Or leave us a comment on our YouTube channel. We'll see you on the next episode. Happy reading!